Meeting. We are aware there's no video at this time. We're working on it, but we will start with audio only, and this is being taped. Please rise for the pledge. Roll call, please.
Jeff Renahan, First Ward.
Bill Carlos, Second Ward.
Ann Berger, Third Ward.
Michael Safone, Fourth Ward.
Stefan Krakauer, Fifth Ward.
Ann Shershon, Sixth Ward.
Alicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Jim Nelson, attorney for the town.
Megan Clementi, Vandewater, and Vandewater.
John Basley, Town Supervisor. Welcome, everybody, to tonight's meeting. On tonight's agenda, the first item on the agenda is a public hearing for the budget. Item number 2 is a set a date for a public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant. Item 3 is authorize the supervisor to sign Spackenkill School District Resource Officer Agreement. Number 4 is authorize the Crisis Intervention Team Behavioral Evaluation Assessment Team Extension Agreement for the Police Department. Number 5, authorize the Dutchess County SBCA Housing Agreement. 6, consent lead agency A, Pedersen Fill Permit. B, 1984 South Road. 7, notification of constructive partnership CP Unlimited 211 Beechwood Avenue Group Home for 8 residents. Resolution 8, Poughkeepsie Day School. A, secret resolution. B, set a date for a public hearing. We have 2 special consents. First ones are refer to legal, and the second one is a Hudson River Valley Greenway grant. With that, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for any item on the agenda and not the public hearings. We'll do those separately.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody here to speak on any item on the agenda? If not, motion to resume the rules?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to open public hearing number 1, the budget in 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Turn that over to the budget committee.
Should read the resolution, just explain changes.
I would explain the changes first.
All right, so we took a look at the supervisor's budget. We didn't make a lot of changes this year because the budget is, it is pretty tight, and the budget increase is not very significant considering what's going on around us and the bills that we have to pay. So the changes that we made, a summary, we increased the advertising budget and tax receiver by $100 to cover what they actually spend. We are eliminating a juvenile aid position in the police department effective July 1st and adding an evidence technician position July 1st, grade 6, step 1. We're increasing the deputy town clerk hourly rates to $23 an hour. We increased the supervisor's salary line to $85,000. And I believe that is it. Were there a couple changes in water? No?
They were in the meeting,
Okay, all right. So those are the only changes. It doesn't really move the percentage of the supervisor's budget to anything significant. It's effectively just about the same. They're just minor. So, and I just want to say it was a pleasure working with Charlie and Jessica on this year's budget, and Councilman Safone and Councilwoman Berger. And the supervisor did, again, an excellent job with putting the budget together so that the finance committee's work is significantly easier than it has been in years past. We take a look and fine tune a little bit, but there's not too much that really has been needed to be done to these budgets. So I appreciate all the work that Jay does to get it to the point where it's something that it's acceptable and workable for the town, so.
Is there anybody else in the public that would like to speak on the budget? If not, is there any board members that would like to speak on the budget? If not, make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie adopted its preliminary budget for the year 2023 on October 5th, 2022, and whereas the legal notice of public hearing was posted on October 6, 2022, and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on October 11, 2022. And whereas the public hearings were held on October 19, 2022 and November 2nd, 2022 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Rocket Road, Poughkeepsie. Now therefore be resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby close the public hearing in regards to the adoption of the preliminary budget, adopts the modifications to the preliminary budget as presented this day by the comptroller, and does adopt the preliminary budget as so modified as the town's 2023 budget. So moved.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. That brings us to public hearing number 2 on the Community Development Block Grant. Make a motion to open public hearing number 2.
Second?
All those in favor?
I
Aye.
think this is a set date. I don't believe that it's an actual public hearing.
Yes. You are correct. Sorry.
It's
Yes.
okay.
But what I will say, right now, what we're looking for on this is to do a project out at Creekside Park, putting some ecosystem signing in, some trail markers, some education trail and creek signage, some barriers at the end of the trails that connect to private property, create a child's educational component, educational interactive play panels that are ecosystem or nature-based trail improvements, cutting back the trees and brush. And this should be about a cost of about $30,000. And that's step one. When we do have the public hearing, if there's anything anybody wants to change or to have a different idea of what we can do, try to reach out to Jan downstairs first, because we're trying to put this in the park system, and this is basically going on the Greenway end of it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Wait, I'm gonna read it first, Bill. Go ahead. Go ahead, Bill. Read it first. We voted on it.
Be it resolved
It's okay.
that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby set the date, the 16th day of November, 2022 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, as and for the date, time, and place of a public hearing to consider and thereafter vote on acceptance of grant monies for certain improvements from County of Dutchess through the Community Development Block Grant Program for the year 2023, of which the Town of Poughkeepsie is a member. So moved.
Second?
Get a motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Number 3, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the town supervisor to execute a 4-year school resource officer, SRO, agreement with the Spackenkill Union Free School District from January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2026. It's in substantially the form annexed, with an increase in the reimbursement of the town of to the Town of Poughkeepsie to $100,000, $105,000, $110,000, and $115,000 per year respectively. The school resource officer agreement to provide to the school district a school resource officer who shall be a police officer of the Town of Poughkeepsie assigned to the Spackenkill School District pursuant to the terms and conditions set forth in said agreement. So moved.
Second. Get a motion second. Any questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. It's a tremendous program. In this day and age, it's scary that you need police in schools, but you do more than ever. This program allows us to have an officer in the schools that gets to know the schools, the kids. And as a parent in the Spackenkill School District, it makes me very comfortable to know that we have great police officers there in our schools to help protect our kids and our community. So,
Stefan, as you said, connected with the communities, with the students is a big base besides just the security in the school. The officers have that connection with the youth growing up. I think it's absolutely phenomenal, to get that interaction with them in the community. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Resolved, the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor to execute an extension agreement with the County of Dutchess and other municipalities regarding the town police department's participation in the Dutchess County Crisis Intervention Team, training and the Behavioral Evaluation and Assessment Team. Patrols, all as part of ongoing effort to better assist those with mental health and substance abuse issues, in substantially the form annexed, and be it further resolved, the execution of said agreement is part of the ongoing administration of the town's affairs requiring no secret review. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. Got any questions on this? The only thing I say about this is I think the 3rd or 4th year we've had this program, and the fact that with all the mental health issues that we're having out in the community, this is definitely an asset.
yeah, I would agree. Having been over in the courts, you see a lot of people that they're not inherently bad or criminal. They're broken to some extent or have mental health issues. And the more we can do to help these human beings get back to what they should be and sort of keep them hopefully out of the criminal justice system, the better off we all are. So I think it's good that it's a more human approach to what we do as a town and with our police force. So
That works. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 7-0.
be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor to sign a dog control and housing services agreement with the Dutchess County SPCA for the period of January 1, 2023 through December 31st, 2023, in substantially the form annexed, which agreement shall provide for both animal control and housing. Be it further resolved, the town board further finds that it would not be in the best interest of the town to solicit alternative proposals or quotation for such service. And be it further resolved, the town board finds that this is a type 2 action requiring no environmental review. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion, second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes 6-1.
Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby consent to the town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board acting as seeker lead agency. Notice of intent paperwork in its entirety can be found in the town clerk's office for the project known as Peterson Fill Permit, location of which can be found on the planning department's notice attached hereto, dated October 24th, 2022. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Be it resolved, the town board of town of Poughkeepsie is hereby consent to town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board acting as seeker lead agency. Notice of intent paperwork in its entirety can be found in the town clerk's office for the project known as 1984 South Road, site restoration location, which can be found in the planning board. Notice is attached here to dated October 24th, 2022. So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Next one, just a notification, Constructive Partnership Unlimited, 211 Beechwood Avenue Group Home for 8 residents.
Yep, tonight we have Penny here, so if anybody has any questions, and would like to come up, and they can ask you any questions if they, you can come right up to the microphone there. This is a group home that's gonna be going in the 211 Beechwood Avenue, and we're just notifying the public that it's going in.
Okay.
What's the population of residents that you're projecting to have at this group home? How many, and what are their general medical situation or require issues that would have them in the group home?
Okay, so it will be 8 adults. It tends to range, we will have people there in their late 30s to 60s. It's an ICF, which stands for Intermediate Care Facility. So these are people who have more medically, more medical issues. There's somebody there who's visually impaired, people who have cerebral palsy, people who use wheelchairs. There's 24-hour staffing. During the day, they go to a day program, but, we want to be great members of the community, accessing, all of recreation, going to restaurants, shopping. But it's they're a great group of people. So I think we're looking forward to becoming, active members of the community.
Do you have any other facilities in the town at this time, or no?
Not in Poughkeepsie. We do have something in Wappinger Falls, and we have something in Pauling.
And are those, so the services that you provided, is it all to a similar group of people, or is it different locations have different sort of needs and residents?
Well, they're all adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, but people's disabilities and needs varies depending on the location. We are in Putnam and Dutchess County, and we also run day programs and community-based programs.
And how many adults did you say that were going to be there?
8.
8.
And it's
How do they
private
do?
paid? People pay privately?
How do they do that under the code?
Sorry.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead, Stefan. You can finish.
Is there a limit? I
It's
thought there was a
supposed to be
limitation.
5,
Unrelated
no
people
more than
living within a
5.
house.
No more than 5.
This may fall under specific state legislation rather
Yeah.
than
Town
the
code.
definition of family. which is in our code, and I can't recall what the number is for that. But this, I think, is
A
maybe
caravan.
specific state legislation.
Yeah.
It would trump the zoning code as well?
I can check, but I think that's possible, yes.
Okay. Why did I think that they were subject to the zoning code, but the town couldn't restrict where they go unless there was an oversaturation?
That's the impression I was always
Correct.
under.
That's
Different
the
types
state
of
code.
facilities have different preemption or non-preemption
Right.
standards, and I'm sorry, I just cannot remember what they are, but I will check.
Yeah, like the ARC and stuff, they're located in residential areas too. I think it just classifies underneath the building code, really. It will just be an institutional classification instead of residential. That's what it should be.
Right. No, I know from fourth ward issues that there's a limitation on unrelated people living within a single-family home. That's why I just wasn't sure if that applies. But,
They're gonna be a lot quieter.
no, I don't have a concern about the use. It just, that was just the only question that's worth popping.
We'll check.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And actually, I have a group home almost in my backyard. It's backyard and 2 houses over. It's Anderson Home with autistic boys, and they're great neighbors. You never see them. They're really quiet unless they're out walking in the street. But yeah, they're really well managed, and that's occasionally the aides zip in and out. That's the complaint I've heard about all these group homes is
Yeah, that's what I was
the
gonna
aides
say.
coming and going, so.
Would the neighbors say the same about you, Ann?
Probably
So
not.
you'll take them to doctor's appointments and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the medical director will come by occasionally, or?
We have nursing, so
Okay.
we have a nurse that's on call 24 hours a day,
Uh-huh.
and then part of our, requirements is that a nurse comes to the home at least a minimum of once a week.
Right.
Besides, we do access to community doctors.
Yeah,
Do you have a group of people that are designated to be moving into this house once you get it up and running?
Yes, we're actually relocating from a home that we have in Mayapack. So
Okay.
it would be the same group of people would be moving into the new home at Poughkeepsie.
Okay. And why are they relocated? Why are you relocating them from
We lease
there?
the current home and we'll be purchasing this home. And this home is, to be honest, it's beautiful. It's much better for the people that we support. The current home they have, they're not able to access the yard. The home in Beechwood has a flat backyard. It's also, it's better access for them, for the community, because it's right off of Route 9. Our current home, besides being leased, it's very isolating where they are.
Okay.
So that's.
Okay.
That's fine, thanks. Appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Who's got the next one?
Oh.
Bill has a resolution, this one for the day school.
Oh,
Really get
8A.
Number 8?
Yeah, right, this one.
8A. 8A. C.
8A.
Okay. Resolution 11-2, number 8A. Whereas a resolution regarding the environmental review of the potential purchase and improvements of the Poughkeepsie Day School land and buildings is annexed hereto as Exhibit A, and as to which resolution this town board hereby waives a verbatim reading and directs that it be spread across the records as if it had been read verbatim. And it having been moved by
Councilman Carlos.
Yep,
me,
I'll second it.
second by Jeff, and brought to a vote, and we have to have the vote, right?
Yep.
But before you vote, if you could, in your packet, Exhibit A of the resolution indicates that the environmental assessment form, which CPL produced for you, was dated September 30th. And that document has been updated, and it is most currently dated 11/2/22, and the resolution will be amended to reflect that date.
Should I read Exhibit A?
You don't have to.
Okay.
That would be one.
Let me take a roll call vote. I'm going to start with you, Jeff.
Well, before you do that, Felicia, just so
Okay.
people know, when we started this process, we did a study in 2019, as we know, at Arlington Fire, We backed away from that because of the cost. We started another study in 2021 with Mitchell Associates again to look at the Poughkeepsie Day School. And in that process, we've done a traffic study. We did a cultural affairs, study. We'll get the EAF, and all this stuff is getting done to bring it to this piece here. So this is just the next step going forward. So everybody knows where we stand at this point.
You ready for the roll call vote? Jeff?
Aye.
Bill Carlos?
Aye.
Ann Berger?
Aye.
Mike Safone?
Aye.
Stefan Krakauer?
Aye.
Ann Shershin?
Aye.
And Jay Baisley?
Aye, motion passes 7-0.
8B. Whereas the town of Poughkeepsie is party to a contract with the Poughkeepsie Day School to purchase 34.17 acres of land and buildings at 244 Boardman Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, for $8 million. And whereas the town board has today adopted Resolution 11-2, Number 8A of 2022, finding that the purchase and improvement of the Poughkeepsie Day School land and buildings as detailed in the August 24th, 2022 feasibility study by Mitchell and Associates and elsewhere is an unlisted action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and declaring the town's intention to be the lead agency for the SECRA evaluation of the purchase and improvements. And whereas the regular practice of the Town of Poughkeepsie Board has been to itself conduct all proceedings when dealing with the acquisition, use, development, and improvement of town properties. And whereas the town board values the expertise of the Town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board and wishes to have the benefit of the planning board's input as it considers the potential improvements at the Poughkeepsie Day School site. And whereas the town board also wishes to determine whether the oversight of the development of the Poughkeepsie Day School site should be conducted by the town board and be exempt from local land use approvals pursuant to matter of Monroe County 72 NYS 338, 533 NYS 2D 702. Now therefore be it resolved that the town clerk is authorized and directed to cause notice of a public hearing to be held on this matter on December 7th, 2022 at the Town of Poughkeepsie Town Hall, 1 over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, at 7:00 p.m. to be published in the official newspaper of the town and posted in the manner prescribed by law. Said publication and posting to be effected not less than 10 days before the hearing. And be it resolved that the town clerk shall provide a copy of this resolution and related documents to the Town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board with a request that the planning board appear or submit any comments it may have. So moved.
Second.
The motion second, any questions?
Yeah, is this going to be the public hearing just to purchase the property or purchase the property and approve doing the project, moving ahead on it?
The public hearing will be to purchase the property.
Just purchase the
Yeah.
property, okay.
Yep. We're in discussion, and Mitchell Associates will be here at next week's meeting
Okay.
to go over what they found in their studies, to let people, fill people into where we go and where we go with the next phases.
Okay.
And this particular resolution, pardon me, under Monroe, is really a process resolution that, says that in the past, the town board has directed and reviewed dealing with and building things on town properties. And you value the planning board's input, but that the town board will be essentially doing the review of this project.
Right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby grant special consent to the following items, to wit: 1, notification, 30-day liquor license, Spetro, 44 LaGrange. 2, authorize, apply for grant for Creekside Park improvements. So moved.
Second.
The motion second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, so the first one is a motion for a liquor license for Spectral Hospitality LLC. Whereas the town of Poughkeepsie wishes to apply to Hudson River Valley Greenway for a grant of approximately $15,000 under the Hudson River Valley Greenway Planning Grant Program for work at Creekside Park, including trail clearing, signage, boundary clarifications, and educational materials. Now therefore be resolved, the application for this grant, which is part of the ongoing administration of town affairs with no new programs or reordering of priorities which might affect the environment, is a type 2 action under SECRA requiring no environmental review, and be further resolved, the supervisor or his designee is authorized to apply for the above Hudson River Greenway Planning Grant. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. That brings us to the end of our town board meeting. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for any town-related business and ask people to please keep their comments to 3 minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody that would like to speak?
I know Larry wanted to speak.
I'd like to speak.
Okay,
Hold
we
on
have
one
somebody
second.
coming
We have
up
somebody ahead of
first.
you.
Okay.
Hello, I am Larry Treppel, and I just have a quick note to give the board. First of all, I do want to mention a quick story on the subject, which is about the deer killing at Vassar, and that is regarding the epizootic hemorrhagic disease that has taken a lot of deer out in the past few years. And I'll mention that I did go to the Peach Hill Park, place I've never been to before, but I went there in the spring, and I've been going there maybe every week, once a week since the spring. I've never seen a single deer in the entire park. So last week, I finally spoke to somebody who's a manager in the park. He drives around and does a lot of the maintenance and so on in there. And he said that there used to be deer in there, but now the deer are, since about 2020, the deer are now completely gone, and there's not a single deer in that park at all. I think that just kind of represents a little bit what I've heard, also heard about at Vassar, where students are saying that they never see deer in there. Very, very rare. And I think, you know, if we look at what people are seeing on properties, I see far fewer deer in Poughkeepsie at all compared to the way it used to be. So the question right now is whether or not Vassar will intend to hold their baiting and killing phase again in January. And so my question is, does anybody on the board already know whether or not Vassar intends to do this or has made a statement about it? And
As of now, nobody has made a statement. I was waiting till after Thanksgiving to get hold of them, because the last time they decided later on, so I will reach out to them.
okay. Could I contact you then after Thanksgiving?
Absolutely.
To find out about that?
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. And if any of you on the board have an opinion about that, I would love to hear it.
I've been clear for years. I just think it's a terrible idea. I don't think it's necessary. I'm not convinced that the purpose that they claim they're trying to achieve is really something that's worthwhile given what they're doing. I think it's cruel. So that's been my opinion all along.
I think you've been here at the meetings when I said the very first time they did the call, I was on board with it because there were a lot of cars and deers having accidents on Hooker Avenue 376. But since that time, no, there's no need for it, in my opinion.
Okay. You familiar with the Vassar area?
Yeah.
And observing what you're seeing there now?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
I live close by to Vassar, and I used to have a family of 6 all the time, and I haven't seen them for about 2 years.
And they almost have came down to New Hamburg, because they're
Oh, there you
all
go.
over in my neighborhood, all over on Sheaf Road. You
Are
can
they?
see the accents.
Be very careful
all
on Chief
over.
Road.
That's
All
funny.
over.
I don't know.
I mean, you can come by and you can sit in my yard and you see them every day. I mean,
Maybe they got word
I
that
have
they're
some, I have
getting-
some residents that came up from the city and they keep their garage light on because they're afraid of the critters. And then that's the deer that are in
It's
the yard.
It's interesting. I mean, I'm not saying I haven't
Yeah.
seen deer,
Yeah, a lot
but I
of-
mean,
they're down
the
there,
ones
Jim.
I
There's
used
a lot
to
of
see,
them.
I never see anymore.
I think there's more than there used to be.
They're all young.
Or in our area.
They're all young, too.
The disease it can hit clusters of animals, but it's very prominent in Dutchess County as a whole.
Yeah, so I would refrain from saying yes or no until there's a proven study showing there is a definite increase of deer population in the area, and I don't go over to that area to count deer. So I'd have to see, you know, for myself or hear someone say there's no deer over there and they shouldn't be doing it, or there are a lot of deer.
Well, the problem is they do a flyover in February after the cull, and that's when they do their count, and that's what they base it on for the next year. So they've already got their number in.
Yeah, that's after baiting whatever deer are in the
Have not
region, they
heard
bait them in.
And that's just Vassar College, right?
Yes, it's just Vassar County.
I mean, it's a cruel way of doing it. I'll agree that way. But if there's a purpose that they need to reduce it, and they show factual reasons why they have to do it, then we have to look at that as well.
I looked at it and it did,
Yeah,
I mean, it did, like.
I don't
they-
have
they
any
gave-
numbers for this
They
year,
gave
but-
me their information and none of it seemed to be necessary or worthwhile. It seems like there's a couple people over Vassar that want to do this for whatever it is that they're involved with. And I didn't see the justification for it. And they indicated that the saplings were all being destroyed and nothing was allowed to grow. And it
Well-
just, I mean, I don't know that that's really the case. I'm sure if they're trying to create some sort of balance in their little biosphere of Vassar Forum, maybe there's a rhyme or reason to that specific location, but it seems like a harsh way to go about their scientific study or whatever it is.
This is just a cheaper alternative than netting off certain areas to keep the deer out. That's what it comes down to.
Well, I don't know if it's cheaper, but the other problem is they aren't addressing the invasive plants. I mean, that's part of what's going on at Peach Hill, where you don't see deer there, is the ivies have overtaken. I mean, that used to be a huge orchard, and the ivies have overtaken major chunks of it, and the deer don't like those ivies, so they moved on. So there's less for the meat. Yeah, so they're killing the deer to save the saplings, but they're not addressing the invasive plants. They're also killing the saplings. Yeah.
I live next to Vassar and still have a lot of deer in my house. A lot. Not one, not two, family, 5 family, 4. They're always in my yard. Always. I have a lot of them. I live here.
Larry, anything else?
No,
Okay, thank you.
thank you very
Michelle?
much.
Michelle?
Michelle?
Hi. Good evening, everybody. The reason for my call today is there just happened to have been a couple of items that I did want to, comment on. One was all the intervention that's going to be going on, mental health intervention, which I think is, a great thing. But what I'm doing is I'm taking a few steps back, and I'm going to be asking the town to really examine and start to investigate the connection between overproliferation of radiation and the effects on the brain, as well as looking at the nutrition of people that are in distress. And I submit to you that, basic mineral nutrition like vitamin D is something that I think all health professionals need to look at. And there's actually a personal experience I wanted to share. I know of it was an adolescent that could drive. This adolescent had their permit, and this adolescent had documented extremely low vitamin D levels, was in distress, depression, anxiety, etc., and went to a well-known medical facility that had this person's mineral records, basic blood test records, knew that this individual's vitamin D levels were below 20, which is horribly deficient, and instead of lifting up this person and making sure they had the right mineral supplementation, rushed to write scripts for prescription medication for anxiety and depression. And this is not uncommon. So the adolescent drove to the pharmacy, filled their prescription without their parents' knowledge of a mind-altering pharmaceutical. Now, this is really pathetic. So I wanted to raise that as a very important issue, because people with mental health problems often have extremely low vitamin B12 that leads to schizophrenia, extremely low vitamin C, and extremely low vitamin D. But we will be ignoring all of that, and our mental health professionals do not consider any of that they rush to pharmaceuticals because they're attached to the pharmaceutical industry. So I want to say that. And I have made many comments about, RF microwave radiation proliferation and its effects on the brain. So we're going to be throwing money into, all kinds of interventions. And, of course, then, you have people with mental health, then they jump right into suicide and everything else, domestic violence. And we're going to ignore those two things,
Michelle, can we wrap it
nutrition
up?
and how much exposure that we have, to RF. The other piece I wanted to address
Michelle, your
was
time's
the
just about up.
The $8 million purchase. And I hope that you have Mitchell and Associates looking at the bioinitiatives safety levels upon which the town staff will be exposed to. And I hope that they would look at the bioinitiatives level of what is safe and what is not safe, rather than just, tying it to FCC, which, may be problematic too, because they don't often monitor.
Michelle, can you wrap
So
it
I
up?
really think you guys have to get someone who will monitor it to keep our town personnel safe at that location, if that's where you're going. And the police will also be there. So our first responders will also be there.
Thank
So
you,
that's
Michelle.
it, Jenny.
Thank you.
wanted to say.
Thank you.
All right.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Anybody else?
Come up, yeah.
Come on up, ma'am.
My name is Wajiha Sahawna. I'm here because of my water bill. I think I talked to you. Yes. I live alone. I never been in the house. I go to the house sometime just to eat or to change my clothes. Then I'm always working from house to house. I am a caregiver. And my water bill came about $600. And I'm not living there. Even shower I do on my work. And I don't know, 2 people came and checked the water. They say we have a leak. I found out the leak is
It was outside, yeah.
outside. It's not in my house. And I have to pay, I pay already $300 the most first bill since I bought the house. And now I have another bill coming plus the $600. And I need help. And I don't know what to do.
The best thing we can say is do it in installments. The water was used on your property, which we've had that discussion, and I pointed you in the direction of the state to see if they could help you with the water program that they had. The fact that we purchased the water went through your line, the fact that somebody didn't turn off your hose, no offense, isn't the town's responsibility that they left that line open.
Sir, it's not a hose. I am there. It's not a hose. They say it's under the ground.
Yes, but it's
not
on
a
your
hose.
property.
It's not a hose. It's under
I
the
know, I
ground.
mistakenly said hose, but the line that was leaking, that they turned off, was on your property, past the town line, which means it's your water, it's on your property. That's why we pointed you in the direction of the state to try to get help from the state, because they will help people with their water bills. And there is a program out there, and when I talked to you, I personally gave you that information. I think Ann dropped that information off at your house also.
Yeah, and actually, I'll go and get the information again and take a look at it, and we'll get together and I'll help you fill it out, because I think you really are a candidate for the state COVID help
Yes.
for water bills.
Please.
So, yeah, so I'll be in touch with you this week, and I'll go pay water a visit tomorrow and get the information again.
Thank
Yeah,
you
and that
very
was the
much.
direction, you should have called back if you couldn't, Ann saying you couldn't have filled it out. You should call back, we'll help you fill it out. I mean,
Yeah.
the state has been extremely helpful with people that can't afford to pay their water bills. We agreed to put that program in place about 6 months ago, and we've received multiple checks from the state that help people with that.
How about, I know you now with Center Hudson. Center Hudson drive me crazy. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, you need to.
Out of the way, did it get it fixed yet? Did you find the leak?
They found the leak and they closed only a faucet from the basement. They say we didn't know the water go where. It's not a hose, I see it. I think it's under the ground. And we didn't fix
But
it,
is
he
it-
just
but is it
shut the
fixed?
water.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, it
I
was
didn't,
cut off.
All they had to do
I
was turn
didn't
it off.
fix it,
Oh,
they
okay.
just turn it off.
It was cut off.
Because Tom, where's it go from, like the curb box or whatever to the meter is their responsibility still, or I mean?
Yes, it's from the curb box to the meter is their responsibility. Her leak is on her side of the meter, between her house and her garage. When our guys were there, they isolated the garage, that turned the water off, stopped the leak, so turn it on, the leak in. It was our responsibility to fix that. But we left it off. And
Yes, I
that was
left it
several
off.
months ago.
Okay.
Yeah, they solved the problem. Now it's just a matter of
I
getting
just
her.
want to make sure.
Well, yeah, no.
Fix it.
Yeah.
I know, I don't know how,
Yeah.
I think if I wanna bring somebody to fix it, I know they have to dig from my
Yeah.
basement all the way to the
No,
garage.
I just want to make sure it's fixed now,
Yeah,
at least
it's-
temporary.
A
stop.
temporary fix,
Yeah.
yes. I don't have that money to fix it
Yeah.
all the way, you know. I need the help first to pay
And
my
also,
bill.
pay close attention to your bill, because that ran over more than one quarter. If your bill
Yes.
went from that, if I remember correctly, it was like a $30 bill, went to a $120 bill, and then it almost doubled. It grew over that
Sir,
period.
it was not 30, always 150 every year.
Yeah,
I
but
think
it went way up in one quarter
200.
before that last quarter. It went up, if you look at your bill, it had gone up over 2 or 3 quarters. So it started in the middle of a quarter. If you caught in that one quarter, you probably could have stopped that.
I just
cycle.
moved to the house in April.
No, I mean, if you're looking at your bill,
I know.
yeah. And we discussed that when you're here, but I think the route of filling that form out and sending that to me is your best bet. And I wish you had called us back that you couldn't fill it out, because it would have helped you fill it out at that point.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else? No? Motion to resume the rules?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Renahan?
Be resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie is hereby adjourned to executive session to consider the following: to discuss matters which are exempt under the open meeting law, including matters subject to the attorney-client privilege, and be it further resolved that no action appropriating money will be taken. So moved.
A motion second, all those in favor? Aye. Town board goes into executive session at 7:47 PM.